Benvenuti! Welcome to Italian for Beginners, Lesson 20, Course 1. I'm your Italian teacher Claudia and I'm very happy to start our new lesson for Course 1. So today we're going to talk about the difference in Italian between the verb to be, essere, and the verb to stay, stare. Okay? So let's see the conjugation of the verb stare first. Stare is a verb that belongs to the first group, as it ends with are. Okay? And let's see its conjugation then. Io sto, tu stai, lui, lei sta, noi stiamo, voi state, essi stanno. Okay? Perfect. Then, let's see all the difference. For example, all the situations where you use the verb to be. As we have seen in last lesson, we use the verb to be to talk about time. For example, it's 1 o'clock. È l'una. It's 2 o'clock. Sono le due. Do you remember that you have to change the verb? Because due is more than one. Okay, so it's plural, so you need to use the verb in a plural form. It's 3 o'clock, sono le tre. It's 4:30, sono le 4:30. Do you remember how to express time? If you have some doubts, please check the previous lesson, okay? Then, we use the verb to be to talk about the date. For example, it's October 10th. È il 10 ottobre. So here you can also see the differences between how we write and say the date compared to the English way. Okay? So what do we say is it is the 10 October. That it's literal meaning. Okay? È il 10 ottobre. It is the 10 October. Okay? And that's how you always write it or say it. It's June 17th, è il 7 giugno. It's April 21st, è il 21 aprile. Okay? It's pretty clear actually. It's easier than in English, I'd say. Then, also you use the verb to be when it comes to the day of the week. For example, it's Monday, è lunedì. It is Monday. Always remember that in Italian we don't use subjects that much. So for example, when we're writing or when we're talking, we're not always using them. It's Thursday, è giovedì. It's Sunday, è domenica. Okay? Never forget the accent on the verb to be è. Okay? Great. Then, you use the verb to be to talk about origins. For example, in my case, sono italiana. I am Italian. And I'm using italiana because I'm a woman. So, for example, if you are American, you would say, and you're a man, you would say sono americano because you're a man. Okay? Perfect. Then, we use the verb to be to ask the question, where are you from? You have two possibilities for this question. The first one is, di dove sei? Di dove sei? Where are you from? And the other one is, da dove vieni? And this is more, where do you come from? Okay, so we use the verb venire, that is to come. Da dove vieni? Also, you use the verb to be, as we have seen before. For example, she is Spanish. È spagnola. Okay, spagnola, with an A at the end, because she's a woman. We are English. Siamo inglesi. Siamo inglesi. Okay? Perfect. Then, you use the verb to be when talking about religion. For example, he is Jewish, è ebreo. If it was a woman, that would have been è ebrea. Okay? You're Christian, sei cristiano, if we're talking about a man. If we're talking about a woman, sei cristiana. I'm Muslim, sono musulmana. So here, in this case, there is a woman talking. If it was a man, that would have been sono musulmano. Is it clear with the adjectives? She's atheist, è atea. It's a woman. If it was a man, è ateo. With an O at the end, as usual. Okay? Great. Then you use the verb to be also when talking about politics. It's a democratic country. È un paese democratico. È un paese democratico. So also another difference from the English language is that you put the adjective not in front of the word, but after the word itself. I mean, you can put the adjective before the word, but that is a little bit poetic, actually. The president is Republican. Il presidente è repubblicano. Il presidente è repubblicano. Perfect. And then you use the verb to be when talking about materials. For example, the shirt is cotton. La camicia, the shirt, so it's a feminine word in Italian, sorry, è di cotone. La camicia è di cotone. The literal translation of this sentence in English would be, the shirt is of cotton. Okay? That's how you talk about materials in Italian. Great. Then we use the verb to be, as in English, to talk about relationships. She's my mother. È mia madre. È mia madre. He is my brother's friend. È l'amico di mio fratello. È l'amico di mio fratello. And that literally is, he is the friend of my brother. Is it clear? Great. Then we use the verb to be to talk about physical characteristics, as in English. Once again, she is tall, è alta. So you see here, even if we don't have the subject in Italian, we know that we're talking about a woman because it's alta and not alto. Alto would be for a man. We are short, siamo bassi, and that means that either we are a group of all men or we are a group of, 3 men and 1 woman. Okay? If it was a group of all women, then we would have said siamo basse. Okay? Siamo basse. But even if it's a group of 2 and there is a man and a woman, then you have to use the masculine plural form. So, siamo bassi. Okay? Basse is used only when it's all women. Okay? I'm blonde, sono biondo. Sono biondo. So, in this case, I am a man, because I didn't say sono bionda. Great. Perfect. Then, we also use the verb to be, as in English, to talk about people's personality. I'm shy, sono timida. And in this case, it is a girl or a woman talking. Sono timida. The boy is outgoing. Il ragazzo è estroverso. Il ragazzo è estroverso. Perfect. Then, the verb to be is used also to talk about locations. Once again, as in English. Rome is in Italy. Roma è in Italia. I am at the store. Sono al negozio. My mother is at home. Mia madre è a casa. Okay? Perfect. Then, we use the verb to be also when talking about some specific conditions. For example, I am happy. Sono felice. Sono felice. And watch out, felice never changes. If it's a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. It's always felice. She is sad, è triste. If it was he is sad, that would have been è triste. So the very same thing. The food is cold. Il cibo è freddo. Il cibo è freddo. Freddo because cibo is a masculine word. Okay? Perfect. Then, when do we use the verb stare? Then, to stay. So we use the verb stare to express feelings and for making a progressive tense. Okay, we're going to talk about it in a bit. So first of all, let's see the feeling situation, okay? Actually, it is used only to express two kinds of feeling. I am well and I feel bad. I am well, in Italian, is sto bene. Do you remember the question, how are you? It could be come va or come stai. So in the question, you have the verb to stay. So when you answer, you need to use the verb to stay as well. Sto bene, sto male. I feel bad. Does that make sense? Okay, great. And then, as I mentioned, we use the verb to stay also when making the present progressive. Okay? How do you make that? It's pretty easy, actually. You first have to use the verb to stay instead of the verb to be, as in English, and the verb needs to be conjugated, of course. And then you have to add this tense that is called gerundio in Italian. That is pretty easy. So you actually take the verb root, for example, mangiare, so mangi, and you attach ando for the verbs that end with are, endo for the verbs that end with ere and ire. Okay? For example, I am walking, sto camminando. Walk, to walk is camminare, so it's a verb of the first group. You take the verb root, cammin, and you add ando. And you make the progressive tense by adding the verb to stay. Sto camminando. I am walking. They are jumping. Stanno saltando. Saltare, salt, ando. Plus the verb to stay before. My father is running. Mio padre sta correndo. Correre, verb of the second group. You take the verb root, corre, and you add endo. Okay, is it clear? Perfect. This is just an overview. Of course, we're gonna do the progressive tense a little bit better in the next courses. So let's do an exercise. So here, what you have to do is just to translate these 4 sentences. So I'm going to read them, and then what you can do is to pause the video and take your time to translate these sentences. And then you can resume the video once you're ready. Okay? First sentence. I am going to. We are seeing. It's 5 o'clock. You are shy. Okay, time to pause the video and do the exercise. And here are the solutions. So, I am going, sto andando. We are seeing, stiamo vedendo. It's 5 o'clock, sono le 5. You are shy, sei timido. But it could have been sei timida as well, because we don't know in this case if it's a woman or a man. Okay? How did you do it? Did you make any mistakes? And then let's do another exercise. So here you just have to fill in the blank spaces. So take your time to read the sentences and to complete the exercise. Pause the video and resume it once you're ready. Okay? Perfect. And here are the solutions. So, for example, first sentence, di dove sei? Or di dove siete? Where are you from? Mio padre sta correndo. My father is running. Roma è in Italia. Rome is in Italy. Did you remember to put the accent? È il 7 giugno. It's June the 7th. Sono le 2. It's 2 o'clock. Mia madre è triste. My mother is sad. How was it? Was it too difficult, maybe? Okay, awesome. So we have finished our 20th and last class. So complimenti, you have just finished course 1. I'm really proud of your progress and I'm looking forward to starting a new course with you.